Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This is The Lightning Thief, Book 1, 375 pages, 22 chapters. Coming of age as a demigod. So he's half human, half god. His father is Poseidon, his mother is a human, and he doesn't know it. So he takes a field trip with school, and he's been through a number of different schools, and apparently monsters go after half-bloods. So half-bloods and demigods are the children of the gods, but it's all about that the gods can't directly interfere with human society interactions, which how would they make children? But anyways, that's another story. This is a young adult novel, fantasy novel, lots of fun. I think it's owned by Disney, so more movies and TV shows probably coming, but the books are excellent. So, Percy Jackson is the main character. I think he's like 12 when this first book starts, and there's 5 books, or he might be 11, I don't know. Anyways, he is on a journey of discovery into the world of Greek gods. So he's on a field trip, and a bully is, bullying a friend of his. And they're by a fountain, and, he sticks up for his friend, and he, passes out, and apparently he had triggered the fountain to splash the bully. And so that was kind of the first hint that Poseidon is the father, and they kind of dance around it a little bit, but eventually he goes to summer camp. It's called Half Blood Hill, and there's all these other demigods, half god, half human, and they all have different abilities, different skills, and they're all in training to become heroes. So since the gods can't act directly, they ask for a hero to go complete a task. In return, they grant favors, wishes, magical artifacts, all kinds of really cool stuff. But, since they can't interfere directly or choose not to, I think they can, they just choose not to. And so these heroes or heroes in training go out and do quests and adventures. So his mom is human, and she ends up getting captured by Hades, the lord of the Underworld, on their way to summer camp. So he wants to go rescue his mom, but of course Zeus's master bolt, thunderbolt, lightning bolt, whatever it's called, hence the lightning thief, right? It's gone, and so he goes on this quest to, return it. And so he has a friend that he stood up for, Grover, who they travel together, and Annabeth he meets at camp, and they all are on an adventure, and then they run into Aries, who this really hammers it home, and I think this is really a big part of the series. He acts indirectly by giving them the backpack, and not well, it was tricking them, but like he influences them, gets them to do his bidding. And I think that is a big part of this series, in that, as a teenager, everybody you talk to might or might not have their own agenda, but they are trying to influence you and that kind of thing. I mean, that's big, right? As a teenager, you're just trying to live your life and have fun and, do your thing. But really, some people are trying to steer you in different directions. And so that's kind of the undercurrent to this giant thing, because the gods have to act indirectly through these heroes. There is a movie, I haven't seen it, but yeah, there's also the big three. So you got Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. Supposedly their children are more powerful, but I think there's like 12 gods or something like that. Are major gods, and then there's minor gods. I don't know. There's this whole thing. It's a lot of fun. I really liked the atmosphere of the summer camp. Like, I've been to basketball and band camp, and it definitely felt like the atmosphere hit it home. There's cabins, there's activities, all that kind of stuff. The meals. I think that was right on point. And there's lots of action, there's lots of adventures. Um, the main character is struggling with school, and he doesn't really know his dad, and it's just all this easily relatable things that come together and make this such a great book and a wonderful series. I enjoyed all 5 books. This is a must read if you love fantasy fiction. I didn't really know anything about the Greek gods, and now I was like constantly like looking them up and researching them while reading the book. So it's absolutely, I think that was another intended purpose. So lots of fun. Things I didn't like, they really didn't give the main character info. It was just like, oh yeah, we'll talk about this later. And so I liked that because as a teenager, that's something that absolutely happens. I don't think it happens as often, but it is something that does happen. Hey, here's some inside information that we're discussing that you don't know about. Oh yeah, we'll tell you about it later. And then that later never comes. So he has to figure out a lot of things, kind of either guessing or figure it out for himself. I didn't really like the spoils of war. I mean, I get it, like trophies and stuff like that, but I guess I kept waiting for him to use the Minotaur horn, and he never did. So I thought it was gonna be like some kind of, oh, insert the key and it, something works, but it just wasn't used again. So I was kind of shocked. I mean, I think it fits in with the mythology that I don't really know much about, but it just seemed odd to me. So the celestial bronze. Um, I mean, I guess they have to have something that affects the gods, so hence the celestial bronze. But I don't know. It just felt weird. Like there's this one silver bullet kind of thing that can do it. So yes, give this a read. I have read all 5. This is a wonderful series. So as always, buy your books used.